I know there's new people because we get new people coming in every day. And I would like to make the rules of this forum away, known to you all. I know some of you have been sitting here and you know it, but the more you know it, the more comfortable you become with it, because now you're not the new one. Somebody else is the new one. In the beginning, you were the new one. And my daughter said something great this morning to us. She said, I want to read that to you. Don't train until you get it right. That means don't do something until you get it right, and then you stop training. That's the worst thing that you can ever do. Train until you can't get it wrong. Just a little bit further, but it makes sense. So we're going to do this. I'm going to share with you the way we work, and the way we work is listen for the half an hour. Then after the half an hour, somebody have to ask you, what have you learned? What have you taken away from today's conversation? And then you share it. And through sharing, you will become richer, because every day you will become more comfortable, knowing how to share and know how to produce your words. Because so many of us grow up and we learn, shut your mouth, shut your mouth, shut your mouth. Stay quiet, don't speak too much. And through not speaking, we learn to not become involved in life. We don't speak life. I said to you yesterday, and I said to the Afrikaans speaking forum as well, when I say something and you sit there in your home, and even if you're alone, it's going to be easy. If you're amongst other people, it's going to be a bigger challenge. But imagine you simply agree. That means, Yanni, I like what you just said. So your child will sit next to you and say, are you speaking to me, Dad? And your dad will say, no, I'm just speaking to myself and speaking to my mind. I agree with what Yanni just said. You all understand, I hope you all understand the principle of synergy. If you don't understand principle of synergy, it simply means if you can do something 10 kilograms maximum on your own, I can do 10 kilograms maximum on my own. If we put our energy together, that means we come in synergy with each other in our minds. We can pick up more than the 20 kilograms we will be able to pick up individually as 10 kilograms each other. That's the power of synergy. One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. Those of you who know the Word of God, go and read that. That's the principle of synergy. You can create synergy even if you're home alone, just by agreeing verbally, not in your mind. In your mind, it doesn't matter. What you think produces something, and that's what you speak. So what you think is very important. But the key opening the door to life is what you choose to say. So you can think anything, but what you choose to say, that matters. And somebody sent a question yesterday, and that question is, Yanni, how do I find the small things in life? You mowed your lawn yesterday morning, and you were suddenly aware of these small things, of what a difference it makes. How do I become aware of the small things? Because I don't have a lawn. I don't have a lawn mower. I can't think about that thing. And I said, my answer to that person was, it doesn't lie in the lawnmower or the lawn. It lies in consciousness. What are you aware of? There where you just sit right now. Do you have a piece of paper, a notebook, or a diary? Which one? Awareness. How do you write? Are you writing, doesn't matter? Or are you enjoying the fact that you either draw a picture? I love drawing pictures when I write. So when I make notes, I will draw a picture, because that picture, to me, just speak 1,000 words. So while I'm drawing this picture, I will remember exactly, because that's the way I work. Some people work in words. So is my picture nice? To me, it's very nice. And I become better in my picture because I'm drawing them constantly. The key to small things lies in become aware of everything around you. Everything in your life matters. So I want to give you some feedback because this morning my wife got this amazing call from a friend of ours, and they're part of this forum. And she phoned my wife and she said, you know what, we're staying with my dad. And my childhood memory of my dad was he and my mom was always up early when it was dark. We as kids can never remember them waking up because they were always awake when we woke up. And that was my picture of my dad. And he was always this fit and healthy man. And I got married and we moved away. And now in this period of time, we are together again. And I saw that my dad is sleeping late. He's waking up at 8 o'clock. And it was strange because it was never him. And his physicality went a little bit backwards. He was not that healthy person. But I thought to myself, but my dad is 70 years old. So because of his age, yes, it makes sense. He can wake up a little bit. That's probably why. So it didn't bother me. Yet something happened. She phoned us this morning. She said my dad was sitting in with all these sessions every day. And he's actually the one instigating that we should be in time for the session. And suddenly my dad made a decision. What's happening now, my dad is up before us every morning and he's doing push-ups. And I can't tell you how much our home, the home we're staying in, has changed because the vibrant energy coming from my dad is influencing us all. It's like my dad has got a second breath for life. Now, when my wife told me that, I just want to say, hallelujah. Somebody is living life in a wealthy, rich way. It's available to us all, yet few of us choose it. Excellence is available to us all. It's chosen by a few because it's often dressed in overalls and it looks like work. I hope you get that one. Excellence is often dressed in overalls and it looks like work. But that's the key to a life far above average, is excellence. So before I go on, I wrote here big on my, between my pictures, I just said ask. We are coming to the end of the cycle tomorrow. And on my spirit, and me and my wife are discussing it, and I'm discussing it with my mentor friend. But I would like to hear from you, every one of you sitting in, listening to these 30 minutes a day. The message that coming year after will tell you probably more, but that's why I want to ask you the question before the time. Next week is coming. Tonight we're going into level 4 in South Africa. So it's a change in mind. Level 4 from level 5 is a change in mind. Would you like to continue with this forum next week? That's all. Yes or no? Every day? Would you like to take part in this? Yes or no? If you can't see yourself taking part, say, Yanni, it was fantastic. Thank you very much. We won't have time. If you want this forum to continue next week, and if you can't get that time, it will be on YouTube Live. Would you like it to continue? I need your voice because we need to make a decision. I don't want to continue with something that's not a need. I know it's valuable because of all the feedback, but I want to ask you, would you please write us an email and say, what do you want? You've got to understand, if you sit there and say, oh, my view is not that important, you're wrong. Your view is extremely important. So I would like to ask you to get back to us. Now I want to get to today's mindset or mind thought. Some people ask me, Yanni, what do you think is one of the most important reasons why people who are successful don't maintain lose their success? Because to become successful is something that many of us do. We get married. That's a successful outcome. You're young. You wonder whether you're going to get a partner in life. and eventually you work it and you wangle it and you do the right things and you stand in church and you get married. That's success. You get married. Yet 75% of marriages eventually fail. Why? You get a child. You raise your child, your first child you raise perfectly. He becomes a perfectionist. He doesn't do anything wrong. And thereby many firstborn children do little things, because if you don't do anything wrong, you don't do a lot of things. Just a joke. But so many of us are afraid of failure. Therefore, we do little and we experience little of life. I told you yesterday, I would rather experience the heat and the cold of the day instead of just being lukewarm, in the middle, just safe. Because the taste of this day is the memory I carry of this day. This morning, I tell you, it was chilly outside. And my wife opened the windows smaller because we sit in front of this huge sliding door. And we've got these two chairs there, and my daughter sit on my wife's between her legs. And we don't look at each other. We look outside. We watch the darkness. That's the time we wake up now. It's totally dark. But it's amazing to watch the darkness grow to gray, and then the orange comes, and then there's a light orange, and then it disappears. It becomes gray again just before the sun comes out. That's how I experience every morning. The answer is, it is all inconsistency. And I want to tell you a story now to explain the power of consistency. So many of us do the right thing. And we experience success because we've done the right thing. We've learned the lesson. Yet, a couple of years later, you lose your health, you lose your marriage, you lose your relationship with your children, you lose your job, you lose your hope, you lose your faith, because it's all been mundane. It didn't make, you became familiar with it. And when you become familiar with it, you don't put effort into it. In the old days, I can remember that you had a borehole in the ground. So you drill this borehole until you find water, and it's deep. Then they put a hand pump on top. In many places in the country, in the Drakensberg, in those places, they still work with the boreholes. There's no electricity there. So you get to this pump, and it's got this lever. And you just start pumping this lever, and that lever causes the pump that's on the top of the borehole to suck up the water from the bottom, because it's a sucking process. Now, you've got to understand, the moment you start, you suck up this little water. With the second pump, you suck up this little more water. So it's pulling up more water every time. And you've got to understand, the more you pump, the heavier the water becomes. So it's a process where you start something and the water doesn't come out with the first pump. No, that water needs to be sucked up in that borehole, and you stand there outside, and it becomes heavier and heavier. And just to make the story more real, people will walk past you, your friends or somebody, and say, "What are you busy doing? There's no water. You're pumping and it's empty." So people will ridicule you because you're busy with something that doesn't produce a result. What will happen if you listen to them? All those first pumps that you gave, what will happen after? Now, you've got to understand, get the picture in your mind. Look underneath the surface. That water came up, came up, came up. And here, the sweat is going down your brow, and you working so hard, and people are ridiculing you. What will happen if you give up? All the water will go back down in the borehole, and all your effort was in vain. But what you don't know is because you couldn't see underneath the surface. That's why I always say, do you believe in reality, or can you imagine beyond reality? For those of you who live in reality, life will be the dreadful emptiness of pumping, not seeing results. And the only thing you want is quick results. So you will do Simple things, not huge things, simple things. But let me tell you, if you have faith and you believe that that water is, you know it. If you can see underneath the surface and you know that water is coming up, you will not stop to pump because of the people laughing at you and ridicule you. Now you will continue to pump because you know that eventually when that water comes through the top, the moment it comes through the top and it goes out of the pipe, it's almost like now it's sucking itself. And you can stand there and now you can pump like this because the effort is almost flawless. There's no effort in it. And that's what we call when we see champions in life. That it looks so easy what they do. It can't be that difficult to be successful. Look at them. Their water pump is pumping water like there's a stream coming out. So I'm going to pump. No, this is too difficult. We look at other people, but we've got no idea how much effort they put in to get the water flowing. Let me tell you, I spoke to you about my lawn yesterday, my garden. Yes, the first time I took my weed eater, it took me more than an hour to really clean this whole place up. Because the garden service is not focused on excellence. It's simply maintaining. It's not excellent. But if I want to live an excellent life, I've got to see the detail in life. So the detail that I did the first time was a huge effort. But on Wednesday morning, that was yesterday morning, how long did it take me to go through my whole garden? It took me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because I've got a huge garden. But it was so easy. Sometimes I'm going there and I know I'm only cutting 2 or 3 grass roots or grass, whatever you call it. It doesn't make such a big difference, yet it does. But it was so easy because the water was flowing. Now, if I stop doing that in a week or 2 weeks' time, I will look and say, wow, it's going to be a huge effort. And then I will have every excuse not to do it. How many of us have excuses not to start with something because we know it's a massive effort? If you've given up your health, you trained until you were 30, you were young, it was easy, you were part of a group, you stopped. Now you're 40 or 45, you're overweight, you don't have power anymore, and you think, oh, I've got to enroll in a gym, I don't have the money, and it's going to be an hour and a half of training, and therefore you set it out. You postpone, you procrastinate, you have an excuse. Let me tell you, the secret to success in life is not the effort, it's the consistency of effort. In the beginning, yes, you're going to be uncomfortable. In the beginning, you're going to say, waking up at 5 o'clock, waking up at 6 o'clock, this is so difficult. Yes, you're pumping. If you quit, that time, first time that you woke up early, it doesn't matter because you will have to do that same thing again and it's going to be exactly the same effort. But if you never quit, if you are consistently busy with the things that you do, how difficult is it to sit down for 30 minutes every day with me to chat? How difficult is it? After 4 weeks, for those of you, Skulk and Shirley in the UK, your email to me gave me goosebumps this morning. I sent the email back and I said to you, thank you, you manna out of heaven, because the more you take part in this, the more thrilled you become about your own life. And it's just consistently sitting in this session 30 minutes a day. Why do you think I don't do it every second day? It will be much easier for me. No, because I know if I don't do this every day, yes, the weekend is free. But if I don't do this every day, it will become too much of an effort and I will not have the time to do it. And that's my lesson for you today. I want to tell you, before I tell you, I want to ask you, what habits do you have at this moment that you are extremely proud of that you do daily, consciously? Remember, if you want to become aware of the small things that makes a big difference, you have to live consciously, not unconsciously. I don't know. Let me tell you about a couple of habits that I have, because they are conscious to me. I do excellent push-ups. There's a fly in front of this camera, and I don't know whether you see it. I'm going to kill this fly just now. Don't worry. It's becoming a walk, and then it's dead. I'm doing push-ups every night before I go to shower. I started out with 5 about 3 years ago. 5 push-ups, but consciously excellent. My children would reward me and say, Dad, it looks amazing. This morning when me and my daughter trained, we finished our training with pull-ups. I've got a pull-up bar between 2 trees. And while I was doing these pull-ups, my daughter stood behind me and she said, wow, Dad. And I only do 8 pull-ups, but I do them excellent, properly. I don't do them hastily. I do them excellent because I know if I can continue doing this until I'm old, I will grow old with health. I won't grow old with illness. I wake up every morning at 5 o'clock. It's so amazing for me sometimes to just, I lie in bed and I sleep, but as I open my eyes and I look at my clock over there, it's almost every morning exactly 5 o'clock. And I pride myself and I say, Spirit, thank you very much for waking me up this moment. It means I've had enough. This is my time to start my day. Every morning I come down and I write in my diary, a page in my diary, and I write neatly. Since I've been speaking to you, I started writing more neatly because I became aware of what I said, and therefore I have more pride in writing neatly. I got feedback from people as well. They said, my children is writing neatly. They didn't care before, but since they've listened to your sessions, they started to write neatly and they enjoy it. And the children were sitting there and enjoying what their mother told us. That's what she told us. If you are consistently doing small things right, and you consistently every day start with the first things first, life will never rush you. You will always be in front of life, able to look back and enjoy every moment. However, if you are rushing behind life, you will always try to catch up and you will always do everything average. And average is the mindset of people chasing life. Excellence is the mindset of people living life and sucking out the juice of this moment. Speaking to you right now, sitting here with my pink M, I had a different shirt on, and I said to my wife, is this okay? And she said to me, honey, it's a bit dull. I would like you to be more excellent. And I went up and I said to her, my shirts are running out because I'm trying to color myself so that I can see what session it is. But I thoroughly enjoy my pink shirt. This is a shirt that I love to wear, and therefore, when I wear it, I feel good. What do you feel good about what you do right now? When you speak to people right now after this session, are you just going to rush it down and say, oh, I've listened to this? Or are you going to make an effort to say your name and to say, this is what I'm going to do? And I'm going to find this one small thing and watch me do this excellent. Even if it's just answering your phone. Somebody wrote to us and said, we've got a fantastic step-up challenge that we did yesterday. And they wrote to us and they said, every one of us had to phone a person that we haven't phoned in a year. And the discomfort amongst us all was severe, but the reward was extreme. I hope you hear me. The discomfort was severe, the reward was extreme. How many of us avoid moments like this, discomfort, but thereby you lose the reward of discipline? My challenge to you today is be consistently excellent. Challenge yourself to find heat or cold, not literally, maybe sometimes literally as well, but to live life consciously. Because the more conscious you live life, the more you will become aware of the small things that makes a huge difference. And I'm going to repeat my saying, my quote. Are we not perhaps so busy doing so many things that we never succeed in many? We don't experience true success. Should we not perhaps do less things better and experience more success in the day we have this moment? Live life to its fullest. I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts on what you want going forward to next week. I would appreciate that. But for today, be excellent, be consistently excellent, and don't even think about the people laughing at you while you're pumping. Because when your water is streaming out, everybody wants to come and have a sip of your cup. And then you share it because you know that you're the champion and they wonder how you got there. And that's the reward of life, being able to share the success and not keep it for yourself, but the other people don't know where it comes from. They just want to share in it. The beauty of a garden is not in the end result. The beauty of a garden is making it and putting your hands in the dirt and experiencing it. And eventually everybody else enjoy the beauty of the work that you've done. That's the reward of life. Enjoy life. Chat to you tomorrow. Look forward to hear from you. Bye.